Welcome to the R video tutorial on Quantmod Part 8. What we're going to do this time is we're going to do portfolio optimization using the fPortfolio package and using the Quantmod package as well to read in the data. This should be pretty interesting. It's going to do the efficient frontier method, so if you're not familiar with that, you might want to go look it up. All right, so the first thing we need to do is install the fPortfolio. So I'm going to run this. It's going to install it in my fresh instance of R. It'll take it a couple minutes to do this, so don't be upset if it takes a little bit of time for you. I'll probably speed through it on the video. Okay, so it looks like it did everything already. I'm going to comment this out now because I don't need to do it again until I change machines. So I've commented that out. I'm going to read in my libraries. And it's giving some warnings, saying some things were overwritten for other things, but that's okay at the moment. I have my other ticker symbols that I've been using recently, and I'm going to read those in again, and I'm going to run out and get the data, and we'll see what date it is today based off what we have. Get the data, get the weekly portfolio returns. Have the warning as usual, and here you can see that the data in Portfolio 3, since we put it together, well, we haven't put it together yet, it's started at 2016 and it goes all the way to today, or actually Friday of last week, since this is a Monday, the 6th of July 2018. All right, now we're going to run this loop to put it together that we did in the previous videos. If you haven't gone and watched them yet, you might want to. And we went through applying the mean and the covariances. Okay, so what we're going to do first is we're going to put this stuff together like we did last time. Here's my initial portfolio. I have an unweighted mean and a weighted mean and a weighted risk, and I'm going to use these. I'll come back to them later. But these were in the last video, the code for it. So if you've already got that, this should run just fine. Okay, so I've already typed in the code for this efficient frontier portfolio allocation because it's a bit of a pain to do. And what I'm going to try to do is give you some hints on how to do this. Okay, so what we're going to do is the minimum variance portfolio. So it's going to say, what's the smallest variance I could get out of this portfolio? So here you're going to have to first convert your data into a time series data because that's what it likes. When it does the portfolio spec, what it's doing is it's specifying the portfolio and it's looking to see what the current return is, and what it's going to do is try to find the efficient frontier for that. The constraints are always long only right now, and this basically says you can short it as many times as you want in between, but we're not worried about that. So if we run this should run, cross our fingers, and it ran. So what does this produce for us? It gives us a lot of information. Okay, number one, it gives us the return and the risk. So here's the mean, here's the covariance, and here's the variance. And it gives us these weights, portfolio weights. So Apple is 0.1554, and you see I've already copied these numbers up here. That's where these numbers come from. I already copied them up there. You might want to copy and paste them up, put some commas between them, and these are the weights. So what this is saying is if you have a portfolio, put 40% of it into Toyota, okay, if you're trying to minimize the variance. Apparently the Toyota doesn't vary as much as these other stocks, probably because it's well established. Okay, 17% of these other two and 15% of Apple. That's what there's going to suggest that you do for the weights. Now, if you want to see what this looks like, using the code we have from before, we can calculate the new weighted mean, which happens to actually be here in this target mean. So we can calculate the target mean now, and you'll see that it comes out to be the same value. Oh, wait, I didn't run this other bit. It comes out to be the same value when I run it. So if I look at weight mean 2, I see 0.003, and if I looked at my min VP1, you will see 0.003 right here. Okay, and this is why we went through this stuff last time. I want you to have some idea where these numbers come from. Not that you know how it does its quadratic programming to do the other part. That's a little bit beyond the scope of what we can actually cover here, because you need a lot of math to be able to pull that one off. And we can calculate the weighted risk. Okay, so this is going to give us the weighted risk part 2 for our second portfolio allocation, which is this allocation. So what we can do is we can actually look at these two and see how close they are together. So let's just first look at the returns of this weighted mean. So I'm going to look at the weighted mean for 2, and I see that it's 0.003. But if I looked at my original portfolio 1, it was 0.004. So the actual return on my first portfolio is higher. However, remember, what I was doing is minimizing the risk or minimizing the variance. So when I look at this weighted risk here, I see that it's 0.003. And if I look at the first one, I see that it's 0.004. Okay? Now look, this risk is much lower than this risk. Okay? It's a lower number, so it's lower risk. And that's what we were trying to do, is come up with a lower risk portfolio. In return, we've also sacrificed having a lower mean return. In order to avoid the risk, we've changed off and said, I'm going to avoid risk, so I have to take a lower return. And that's a risk-reward ratio that you need to think about. What's the risk? What's the reward that you're willing to tolerate? So this minimized the risk, and it gave us this particular mean on the efficient frontier portfolio. All right, so I'm not a financial planner, so don't listen to me and tell you how to spend this money or your money and invest, but I'm just showing you some tools that exist in R, and hopefully you'll go read more about it, learn more about it, and then be able to do stuff on your own and feel good about it. All right, so we're going to go and move on to the next video.